The cold was cruel. Wind cut through the ruins like a knife. Metal walls of the abandoned outpost gave no warmth. Snow fell from above like dust from a broken sky. Lyra held her little sister Neva close. Her arms shook, not just from cold, but fear too. They were both dressed in thin rags. Their shoes had fallen apart days ago. Now their feet were wrapped in pieces of cloth. Frostbite had started turning Neva's toes blue. "We'll die here," Neva whispered. Her voice was small, like a breath of wind. Lyra hugged her tighter. "No, we won't." But she didn't believe her own words. They had been left behind. The slaver ship crashed 2 weeks ago during a storm. The crew fled, leaving the 2 alien girls behind like trash. No food, no radio, no fire, just snow. In silence, every night, Lyra stayed awake, watching the dark. She feared monsters. Not just animals, but men. Sometimes, she thought she saw lights in the distance. A shadow, a movement. But maybe it was just her mind playing tricks. Hunger does that. This night was different. There were footsteps, real ones, crunching in the snow, heavy. Boots steady? Getting closer? Lyra covered Neva's mouth. They ducked behind an old crate, barely breathing. The footsteps stopped right in front of them. Lyra peeked over the edge. A tall figure stood there, wrapped in a long coat, heavy gloves, and snow-covered boots. A hood covered most of the face, but the skin on the lower jaw was pink, not gray. It's not blue, not scaled. It's not like them. He was human, and he was alone. He looked around slowly, then said in a low voice, "I know you're there." Lyra didn't move. "I'm not here to hurt you," the man added. "But if you stay out here, the cold will kill you." No reply. He took off his backpack and unzipped it slowly. He placed something on the ground and stepped back. Bread. Real bread in a steaming flask. "Food," he said. "Hot yours. No trick." Lyra looked at Neva. The younger girl's lips trembled. Her eyes were locked on the bread like it was gold. Lyra stood slowly. Her hands were shaking. The man didn't reach for a weapon, didn't move at all. "You're freezing," he said softly. "Why help us?" Lyra asked. The man looked at her. "Because someone once helped me." She didn't understand, but she stepped forward. He took the bread. Gave half to Neva. It was warm, soft, tasted like hope. The man watched silently. Then he turned. "This way," he said. "My place is not far. You'll be safe there." Lyra hesitated. "Or stay," he added, "and you won't see tomorrow." Looked at Neva. Her sister was too weak to walk far. She nodded. "We'll come." They walked through the snow, slowly, carefully. The man led them toward a rocky hill. It looked like nothing special until he pressed his hand to a hidden panel. The rock shifted. A door opened. Inside was warmth. Small fire heater, blankets, light, a ship half buried under snow and stone. "Hidden well, sit," the man said. Rest. Lyra sat, holding Neva close. The man handed them real blankets, thick and soft. He poured warm soup into metal cups. "What's your name?" Lyra asked. The man stared at the fire. "Jace," he said. "Just Jace." He didn't ask for their names. He didn't ask where they came from. He didn't stare at their alien faces. He just let them eat, drink, and rest. Then he stood. "I'll be in the next room," he said. "If you need something, knock." He left. Lyra looked around. There were tools, broken machines, old photos of strange places, forests, stars. A woman and child, human things. She didn't know if they could trust him, but the heat, the food, the safety. Neva smiled for the first time in days. "I think he's kind," she whispered. Lyra nodded slowly. "Maybe," she said. But deep inside she still had questions. Who was Jace? Why was he alone, and why? Why did he look so sad when he thought? They weren't watching? Jace didn't sleep much that night. He sat in the old pilot's seat, one hand holding a cold cup of synth coffee, the other resting on a cracked datapad. The snowstorm outside howled against the hull, but inside, the fire heater hummed quietly. In the other room, the two alien girls were sleeping, wrapped in blankets, breathing slow, peaceful. But Jace didn't feel peace. He watched the red blink on the screen again. It was a signal, a weak emergency ping, still active on one of the girls' collars. Someone was tracking them. Maybe slavers. Maybe worse. He turned off the screen. Not yet, he thought. Not tonight. In the warm bunk room, Lyra woke first. She sat up quickly, checking on Neva. The younger girl was still curled up, warm color slowly returning to her cheeks. Her tiny hands clutched the blanket like treasure. For the first time in weeks, she looked safe. Lyra stood and walked to the door. It slid open with a soft click. Jace was already working, tools scattered, wires hanging from the ceiling. He was fixing an old power relay, covered in oil and dust. "You're up," he said without looking. Lyra hesitated. "Why are you helping us?" He paused, then looked at her. His eyes were tired but not cruel. "Because once I was left behind." "Too," that was all he said. She didn't ask more. Instead, she sat across from him. "You live here? Alone?" she asked. He nodded. "Long time now, family." Jace didn't answer. Instead, he handed her a metal cup. "Drink. Hydration blend. Helps warm you." Lyra took it. It smelled strange, but she drank. It was sweet, and it made her chest feel warm. Neva soon joined them, walking slowly. She smiled when she saw Jace. "You gave me food," she said. "You're nice." He didn't smile back, but he nodded. "Hungry." She nodded fast. Jace gave them both real food, nothing fancy. Just ration packs and soft bread butt to the girls. But it was better than anything they'd had before as they ate. Lyra noticed something. On the wall behind Jace, there were handprints. One. Small, one adult-sized, painted in red. She pointed. "Yours?" Jace looked. For a long moment, he didn't speak. "Not anymore," he said quietly. The silence in the room felt heavy. Neva changed the subject. "Are you a pilot?" Jace nodded. "This ship, does it still fly?" she asked. He gave a half-smile. "Sometimes. If I kick it hard enough." The girls laughed. A real laugh. Jace just turned back to his tools. Later, while the girls rested, again, Lyra quietly explored the hall outside the bunk room. She walked past doors. One was locked, another was broken. At the end of the corridor, she found something odd. A glass panel. Behind it, a cryo-pod inside, was a small alien child, frozen in sleep, eyes closed, peaceful but pale. She gasped. Japt peered behind her. "Silent. You shouldn't be here," he said softly. "I'm sorry," Lyra whispered. "Who is she?" Jace stared at the pod. For a long time, then he said her name was May. He nodded. "She was hunted, taken. I tried to stop them, but I was too late. She barely escaped. I had to put her into stasis. I've never been able to wake her." Lyra looked at the child again. "She looks like Neva," she said. "Maybe," Jace said. "They wanted her for her blood, her mind. Something in her species. It's rare, dangerous, or valuable. Depends on who you ask." Lyra stepped back. Jace's face was hard now, cold. "I saved one," he said, "but not in time." Then he looked at Lyra. "I won't fail again." That night, as the storm outside grew stronger, Neva sat near the heater, drawing circles on the floor with her finger. Suddenly, her eyes went wide. The metal under her hand glowed. Soft blue light spread like a pulse. For just a second, Lyra saw it and froze. "Neva," she whispered. "I don't know what that was," Neva said, frightened. Jace stood suddenly. He had seen it too. He grabbed a scanner from the wall, pointed it toward Neva, but the device sparked, overloaded, and died in his hands. He stared at the girl, then at Lyra. "What are you?" he asked slowly. The air felt colder than before. The next morning, the snowstorm had slowed, but inside the cave ship, the air was tense. Jace was quiet. Lyra watched him carefully as he worked on the heater. He wasn't fixing it anymore. He was distracted. His eyes kept drifting toward Neva. Neva, still, wrapped in her blanket, sat beside the ship's old engine, humming softly to herself. Her finger traced small circles on the floor, but now the floor didn't glow. Lyra whispered, "She's just a child." Jace shook his head slowly. "Children don't short out scanners by touching the floor. She doesn't know how she did it." "I believe that," Jace said. "But that's what scares me." Later, Jace pulled Lyra aside. He opened a metal crate. Inside were old records, holograms, reports, images. He tapped one. It lit up a photo of alien children. Slender, big-eyed, glowing veins under their skin. "These are Nirani," Jace said. Long thought extinct. They were hunted for generations. Lyra looked confused. "Why?" "Because they could do things others couldn't. Read emotions. Feel machines. Sometimes even control them, like telepathy." Jace nodded. Almost the slavers found out. Then the scientists came. Then the soldiers. Then they disappeared. Lyra stared at him. "You think Neva's one of them?" "I think she's something rare," Jace said. "And dangerous to the wrong people." He looked toward the cryopod at the back of the ship. "I tried to protect. One before," he added, "didn't end well." Lyra's voice dropped. "Is that why you live out here, hidden?" Jace didn't answer, but his face said yes. Neva walked in just then, holding an old toy. She found a tiny pilot figurine. She looked happy, but Jace looked at her like she was holding a grenade. "Did you touch the back panel again?" he asked sharply. She froze. "No, I just found this." Jace exhaled slowly. "Don't go near the core, ever. It's not safe." His voice was firm, too firm. Lyra stepped between them. "She's not your enemy. She's not my family either," Jace said coldly. That night, Jace locked himself in the cockpit. Lyra sat with Neva, brushing her hair with an old plastic comb. "Are we leaving soon?" Neva asked. Lyra swallowed. "Maybe. Do you think he hates us?" Lyra smiled faintly. "No, I think he's scared." In the cockpit, Jace was staring at his screen again. The blinking light was gone, replaced by something worse. A signal. "Clear strong," he read it aloud. "Recovery crew en route, ETA, 26 hours. Subject code, Nirani class." He leaned back, rubbing his temples. Damn it. They found her. They were coming, and they wouldn't ask nicely. Jace opened a hidden compartment under the floor inside. Old weapons. A worn military badge. A datapad with red warnings. He touched the badge. It had the Terran Fleet emblem on it, and beneath that, Jace Corvan. Tactical Rescue retired. Retired? No. He ran. He failed. Meanwhile, Neva walked again, toward the back of the ship, drawn by something. She didn't hear her. Sister call after her. She touched the glass of the CRYO-pod. The child inside twitched. A soft hiss escaped from the seal. Neva stepped back. Blue light flickered inside the pod. The child's eyes moved. Neva gasped and ran to find Lyra. Jace was already there when they arrived. He was typing commands furiously into the control panel. "Did you touch this again?" he barked. Neva shook her head. I just wanted to see her." "She moved," Lyra said. "We saw it." "That's impossible," Jace muttered. "The stasis lock is sealed unless... ... He looked at Neva. "Unless someone like you touched it." The lights around the pod pulsed. The child's hand twitched again. Then her eyes opened, soft, glowing. Purple eyes. The ship's systems flickered. "Power surge," Jace shouted. "She's waking too fast." He shut off the breakers, but it was too late. The child was breathing, alive. Awake, she looked around. Dazed, then saw Jace. Her voice was weak, but clear. Where is my sister?" Everyone froze. "She was taken," Jace said softly. "I'm sorry." The girl's eyes welled with tears, And then the ship's lights flashed again. The engine hummed. Every screen turned on by themselves. "She's doing this," Jace whispered. "Both of them." He turned to Lyra. "You don't understand. This isn't just survival. This is war." Asterisk, the girl in the cryopod sat up slowly. She blinked at the world like someone waking from a long dream. Her skin was pale silver. Her hair floated around her like smoke. She looked no older than Neva, but there was something ancient in her eyes. Jace took a cautious step forward. "May?" he asked. She turned her head sharply. You're the human who saved me." Her voice was soft but clear. It echoed faintly through the chamber. "Yes," Jace replied. "You've been in stasis for almost 2 years." May nodded slowly. "Then I must find my sister. Is she here?" Everyone froze. Lyra stepped forward. "I'm sorry." "Not here." May's gaze moved to Neva. "You feel like her?" she whispered. Neva backed up a little. "I don't know you." Tilted her head. "But you carry it. The same light, the same spark." Jace scanned May's vitals using an old handheld reader. The screen blinked, wildly, power levels rising. Heart rate normal, brain activity off the charts. "No damage," he muttered. "But the readings are insane." May looked around, confused. "Where am I?" Jace replied. "My hideout. You're safe." "But only for now." She looked at him again. "You don't believe that?" He didn't answer. Later, Jace took Lyra aside. "She's fully conscious." He whispered, "No memory loss. No power drain. That's not normal. She's just a child." "She's a weapon," Jace said firmly, "like Neva might be." "You don't know that." "I do," he said. "I've seen what her kind can do." Lyra clenched her fists. "Then why did you save her?" "'Cause I couldn't watch them kill her. But if they find her awake, they'll burn this planet to ash." Inside the ship, May and Neva sat near the fire heater. May stared at the flames. "Do you feel it?" she asked. "Feel what?" Neva asked. "The machines," May said. "The power running under the floor? The way the ship breathes?" Neva shook her head. May reached out and touched her hand. Suddenly Neva gasped. In her mind she could see it. Pipes under the floor, wires, currents of power, even Jace's movements in the cockpit. She pulled her hand back, shocked. "How did you do that?" she asked. "I didn't," May said. "You did. I just helped you unlock it." Watched them from a hidden camera feed. "Damn," he muttered. He walked into the main room, eyes hard. "You too," he said. "We need to talk." May looked up. "The soldiers are coming." Jace stopped in place. "What did you say?" May stood. "They're close, less than a day away. 6 men, 2 drones, 1 jammer unit." Lyra blinked. "How do you know that?" May looked at her calmly. "I can hear them." Neva added, I think I can feel them too." Jace grabbed his rifle from the wall. "That confirms it," he said. "We don't have time to run." Lyra stood. "So what's the plan?" Jace looked at them. All 3 girls who had no weapons, no armor, and no training. He took a deep breath. "We fight." He spent the next hours preparing. Old turrets were activated. Mines were placed outside the cave entrance. He even rewired the ships. "Energy core to overload on command?" "You're going to blow up your own ship?" Lyra asked. "If they get inside and take one of you," Jace said, "then none of this matters." Lyra didn't argue. May stood beside him. "If I help you, we don't need to lose the ship." He paused. "What do you mean?" May touched the wall panel beside her. It lit up every system on the ship, came alive. Even the broken screens worked again. "You still think I'm just a child?" she asked. Jace stared at her. "No," he whispered. "You're a miracle, or a nightmare." I smiled faintly. "That depends on who's hunting me." As the sun dipped behind the frozen hills, Jace gave Lyra a small device. "Click this if they catch me," he said. "It will trigger the overload." "I won't use it," Lyra said. "You might have to." "I won't," she repeated, firmer. This time, Jace nodded, then turned to May and Neva. Stay inside unless I tell you. This ship is your only protection. May replied, No, you're our protection. Jace looked away. He didn't believe that. The cold before dawn was the quietest. The snow had stopped. Even the wind held its breath. Jace stood outside the cave entrance, his rifle in hand, eyes scanning the horizon. He wore his old Terran jacket now, the one with faded battle patches. Lyra noticed the way he stood like a man ready to die, but hoping not to, inside. May and Neva watched from a side panel, the ship's sensor feed showing 6 red dots moving closer. They're fast, May whispered. They don't care about hiding, Neva added. They don't have to, May said. They think they're the only ones who matter. Lyra helped Jace finish the turret setup. There are only 6 of them, she said. Jace shook his head. 6 elite mercenaries. Slaver crew, most likely. They're trained to handle targets. Like you and May. I'm not a soldier, Lyra said. No, but you're brave. She looked at him. Why do this for us? He paused, then pointed to the patch on his jacket. I used to rescue people, he said. But then I lost someone. I stopped fighting, ran out here to hide. He looked her in the eyes. But you and your sister woke something up in me. Something I thought was dead. Lyra didn't speak. But in her heart, she knew this man, this broken human, had become their shield. Inside the ship, May sat with Neva. You feel it too, don't you? May asked. Neva nodded slowly. Something pulling at me. May closed her eyes. They want to take us. Use our minds. Cut into our bodies. They think we're just tools. Neva hugged her knees. A scared May looked at her. Then, be scared, but don't run. The first sound of attack came like thunder. A plasma grenade exploded near the cave wall, sending rocks flying. Jace didn't flinch. He activated the turret's lasers, swept across the snow, targeting movement. 2 drones flew in from above. He dropped one with a single shot. Come on, he growled. Show me your faces. A shadow ran across the ridge. Jace fired again. Scream echoed in the hills, one down. Inside, the lights flickered. Neva grabbed the wall. Something's wrong. May was already standing. They brought a jammer. What does that mean? They're cutting off outside signals, disabling tech, scrambling sensors. Neva ran to the rear door. I can stop it. Ah! May grabbed her hand. Not yet. Jace's voice crackled through the speaker. Stay inside. But the signal was weak. Lyra ran to May. Can you shut down the jammer from here? May's eyes glowed faintly. No, but I can boost her. She turned to Neva and placed her hands on her head. A pulse of blue light passed between them. Neva gasped. Suddenly, she could see everything where the enemies stood, how their jammer worked, and even the weak spot in their shields. Go, May whispered. Be their storm. Neva dashed out into the snow. Jace was falling back, breath heavy. The 4th enemy had hit him in the shoulder. Blood soaked his coat, but he didn't stop moving. He was out of grenades. Down to his last mag. Then a wave of energy rushed past him, warm and electric. He turned and saw Neva walking toward the enemy line. Eyes glowing, snow swirling around her like a storm. Get down, she shouted. She raised her hands and the ice beneath the enemy team shattered. 2 of them dropped into the freezing hole screaming. Jace stared. What in hell? The jammer exploded behind them, crushed by an invisible force. May stepped out next, walking calmly toward the battlefield, as if this was all normal. Target is loose. One of the remaining enemies shouted, focus fire, but their weapons spark jammed. Frozen, dead, May raised a hand. The last mercenary fell, dropping his weapon, eyes wide in terror. Jace limped toward them. It's over. May shook her head. No, someone sent them, and they'll send more. Back inside the ship, Jace sat down hard, bleeding. Lyra pressed, cloth against his wound. You're lucky. Not lucky, he said. I have you 3. He looked at May and Neva. What you did out there? Oh, that wasn't just power. That was heart. May frowned. But more will come. Yes, Jace said, but next time we hit first. Asterisk, the sky above the frozen valley had turned dark not from nightfall, but from the shadow of something massive, a ship, bigger than any Jace had seen in years. Smooth, black, silent, it didn't roar, it watched. Lyra stepped outside the cave and stared upward. Is that a warship? Jace joined her, wrapping a cloth over his bleeding shoulder. Not just a warship, he said quietly. That's a collector dreadnought. What's that mean? It means we're out of time. Inside the ship, May sat in silence. Her hands rested on her knees, eyes closed. She wasn't sleeping. She was listening. They're scanning the ground, she said softly. They see the heat of the engine. They know we're alive. Jace walked in, slow and limping. They're here for you. For both of you. May looked up. I'm not afraid. You should be. He gathered everyone into the control bay. Have one plan left, he said. But it's risky. Maybe even suicide. Lyra leaned forward. Tell us. It's an old vent tunnel beneath this place. It leads under the ridge, maybe 2 kilometers. From there, I have a launch point, one last escape pod. I built it to disappear into deep space. You want us to run? Lyra asked. No, Jay said. You 3 run, I'll stay. I'll draw them in, set the ship to overload. May spoke up. You'll die, Jace nodded. That's what humans do, when it matters. No, Neva said suddenly. Everyone looked at her. We don't run anymore. Neva, Lyra started, but the girl stood tall now, not like a child, like something more. We have powers, but he has something more powerful than that. What's that? May asked. Neva pointed at Jace's heart. Jace blinked. He had heard a lot of things in battle. He'd seen fearless soldiers and broken ones. But those words from that small alien girl cut deeper than bullets ever had. Then we fight together. He said the battle plan was simple, but bold.jac would trigger the heat shields to make the ship look empty. Meanwhile, May and Neva would climb to the top of the frozen cliffs where they could see the dreadnought clearly. From there, disable the command relay, confusing the enemy fleet. It was dangerous. They could be spotted, or worse, traced. But it was the only chance, as the dreadnought's dropships lowered to the ice. Jace dragged an old Terran missile launcher from a hidden crate. You know how to use that? Lyra asked. I invented it, he said with a grin. On the ridge, snow whipped against Neva's face. Her fingers shook not from cold, but from something inside her. Fear? No. Something stronger. May took her hand. Don't hold it back. Let it out. Neva closed her eyes, and then the sky bent. Electric pulses surged into the air. Drones dropped from the sky like dead birds. The dreadnought's lights flickered in the valley below. Soldiers panicked. What's happening to our systems? One shouted into his com. May's voice echoed across the ice. You came for control, but forgot. We're not machines. Jay stood in the middle of the snowfield launcher on his shoulder. One enemy dropship landed just meters away. Troops poured. Out, he fired once direct hit. Flames lit the sky. Another ship descended behind him. Too close, too fast. He turned to fire, but stopped because behind him, Neva floated into view, not walking, floating. Her eyes glowing white, May beside her. Calm, silent, powerful. The ground trembled. The dreadnought above began falling. Its engines failed. It wasn't crashing. It was being pulled inside the dreadnoughts. Bridge, alarm screamed. A captain barked, What is this? This isn't tech, it's something else. A younger officer pointed at the screen. Sir, the human ship. It's not attacking. Then what is? The captain whispered one word. Fear. Back on the ground, May looked at Jace. You gave us a reason, she said. What reason? He asked, his voice weak. She smiled. To fight for someone. The dreadnought pulled back, engines roaring to regain control. May turned to the sky. This is your last warning, she said. The ship blinked once and vanished into faster dash than dash light. Retreat. Snow fell again, but this time it felt peaceful. Jace dropped to one knee, exhausted. You girls, he muttered, are terrifying. Lyra helped him up, and you, Jace, are ours now. He smirked. You adopted me? No, she said. You adopted us. The cave was quiet again, but it was no longer broken or cold. Warm light glowed from the heater. The walls were patched. The systems were running stronger than ever because May had reprogrammed the ship herself. She didn't even need tools. She just touched the wires and whispered to the machines. Jace sat on a bench near the fire, arm in a sling, a scar across his cheek healing slowly. He watched as Neva chased a tiny repair drone around the room, laughing. Lyra was cooking something edible with rations and spice. Powder May had synthesized from stored bio-compounds. It smelled like family. I thought you were going to leave, Lyra said, handing Jace a cup of warm tea. I did too, Jace replied. I even had a plan. Why didn't you go? He looked over at Neva, then May, then back at her. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't alone. Lyra smiled. We weren't supposed to survive. But here we are. May walked over, serious as always. I've rewritten the engine AI, she said. It won't need a pilot anymore. The ship can fly on its own. Jace blinked. That ship barely worked last week. I upgraded it, May replied. Using the core you hid beneath the floor? He looked up sharply. How did you know about that? I felt it. He nodded, impressed. All right, little genius. What now? We don't hide, she said. We move. Move where? May turned toward the ceiling. There are others like us, she said. Scattered, captured, hunted, forgotten. But they'll come if they hear the right voice. And you want to call them? I already did. Jace stood slowly. Hey, that's dangerous. You're putting a signal into open space. That dreadnought could still be out there. They already know we're alive, she said. Now they'll know we're not afraid. Jace paused, then smiled. I think I finally understand what scares them. What's that? He looked at all three girls. You, with a human. Later that day, Jace took them outside. Snow had melted a little. The sun peeked through the clouds. The cave no longer looked like a gravit, looked like a home. Neva held his hand tightly. Where will we go? She asked. He knelt down. To her level, anywhere you want, he said. Not as my passengers. She tilted her head. Then what are we? Nace looked at all of them and took a deep breath. You're my crew, he said. I'm my family. They spent the next few days rebuilding the ship. May helped reroute the controls to a new central node. Neva used her energy to stabilize the old weapons and shields. Lyra learned to fly. Jace taught her slowly, carefully. She laughed when she first lifted the ship off the snow. It wobbled, then steadied. He clapped. You've got talent. No, she said. I've got a good teacher. That night, a new alert pinged on the console. Jace opened the file. It was a message not from the dreadnought, but from someone else. A voice, female, tired, scared. If anyone hears this, please help. They took my son. They said he was too smart, too human. May looked at Jace. He didn't need to speak. He just nodded. Set a course, he said. The ship once broken and buried. A dam glowed with soft blue light. Its nameplate had been changed. From Dustbreaker to Second Flame, Jace stood on the bridge. Lyra at the pilot controls, Neva on sensors. May monitoring power flows like she was born to do it. A new crew, a new purpose, a new fire. Asterisk in deep space. Far from stars, something stirred an old satellite forgotten by time, lit up as May's. Signal passed through. It blinked once, then twice. Then 100 other signals blinked in reply. Across the galaxy, others were waking. And all of them heard one thing. You are not alone. The human stands with you.